What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Rise podcast. So glad you're here this week. We are talking about one of my favorite topics.
And a lot of people's least favorite topics.
For taxes. How do you keep track of expenses? What do we use to expense stuff in our business? How do we know what we even can expense? We're going to cover a lot of that in this episode, so stay tuned. It's going to be phenomenal. So glad you're listening to the show. Just quick little plug. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it on your story. If this episode resonates with you and you know it can help somebody else that you know that is a creative, put it up on your Instagram story, tag us. We'd love to see who's listening, get to connect with you, and we'd love to also, because you tagged us, be able to say, hey, what up? Thanks for listening to the show, and repost you. But Mastermind update.
Ooh, Mastermind update. Round 10 is so good. We are in week 4, which is so exciting. So it's a 6-week program. We are in week 4, and people are crushing it. We have a few people we want to shout out who have been putting in some crazy work that we want to celebrate.
Everyone's got incredible wins.
Yes.
But we wanted to shout out 3 people in particular for hitting milestones in their business so far. So Chanelle and Ryan, big shout out to you. They are so cool. They've got one of the coolest husband-wife duos. They're based out of Southern California. They shoot weddings, they shoot brands, and they hit their first ever $15,000 month this month. While they are in the mastermind, they're killing it.
Yeah.
And they are already looking onward and upward for what's going to happen next. So big shout out to Chanelle and Ryan, because huge win.
And shout out to Alex CS, who is also from Southern California. She's in the wedding space. She's a wedding photographer, videographer, got a bunch of really cool stuff. She just hit her first 20K month, which is super exciting.
So cool.
Amazing.
I guess, which is insane. So we got Chanelle and Ryan and Alex. You're like, well, apparently only people who live in SoCal can actually have wins. That's not true. There's a lot of amazing people in SoCal. But our last win for this podcast, we're just going to mention Rhys Warren, dude's all the way from Australia. He is killing it right now in the mastermind as well. He hit his first 10K month. That was his goal. And he's already passed that. So he's pumped up. The dude's building a really cool brand with some really cool offers. So Rhys, shout out to you, brother.
He's super humble, though, so he's probably going to be mad we talked about it on the podcast.
He's like, oh, yeah, I just kind of hit my goal, whatever. And it was so cool. But anyways, guys, we are so pumped for everybody who's hitting their goals, a part of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind. It's exactly why we built it. There are 36 creatives in it right now who are all crushing it. They're all progressing, all building their business, creating a better future for their business and for their own life because of a better business. So really excited about it, but let's dive into today's topic. We're talking about expenses and why we are talking about this. Well, here's the problem. Most creatives do not do expensing right. They don't know how to expense things properly, what to expense properly. So they run into every problem that happens when you don't do those 2 things right. Yeah. And there's typically 2 problems very specifically. So again, that was kind of confusing the way I said it.
But
my brain was getting ahead of me there. So most creatives fall into 2 categories when they do not expense things properly, when they don't know how to expense things or what to expense. First bucket is they miss out on saving money on taxes because they're not utilizing and maximizing their expenses in their business. We're going to explain that in a second. And secondly, maybe they are keeping track of their expenses, but they're doing it in a very, very inefficient way. And at the end of the year, this might be you. You sit down. I've been here before. You've been here before. You sit down at the end of the year and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to do 2.5 weeks of just entering receipts into a spreadsheet, and it makes me want to rip my head off. So we don't want you to be either of those people. If that is you, it's not good. Either if you're not expensing anything or you're not expensing what you should be, everything you should be, you're missing out on savings when it comes to tax season, or you are expensing them, you're just doing it the wrong way. It's inefficient. So we're going to help you figure out how to do that better by sharing a little bit about your story and my story. So
I am one of those people that did not do it right from the beginning. So I don't know who I talked to. I will take ownership over the fact that I should have known that this was incorrect. But I was basically told, you don't need to keep receipts. As long as you have a business account with a business credit card and you put all your expenses on that, you are fine. So I went years of not saving a single receipt, not taking a picture, not putting it in a spreadsheet, nothing. And I just get to the end of the year and take everything from my business bank account, which is honestly confusing because if you actually look at the transactions, it's kind of confusing. Not everything's super clear on exactly
well, it just say the store. It won't even say what the product was.
No,
right?
not at all. So I was like, oh shoot, what did I buy from Target for that year? And it was super confusing, really difficult. And if I did save receipts, oftentimes it was this crumpled up receipt in a Ziploc bag.
I can attest to this. Very, very crumpled up. Christy loves to crumple her receipts.
I don't know why.
She loves to just grab a receipt, put it in her purse, and the thing comes out like it's been in there for 40 years. It's only been like 10 minutes.
Well, it's like kind of like, are you like a crumple toilet paper person or are you a fold toilet paper person? I'm a crumple. So I think I did the same thing with my receipts.
Are you serious? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh
Are you
my
a
gosh.
folder?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is like truly our personalities. I am a crumple receipt person. And it really showed. And unfortunately, it led to very stressful tax seasons, very stressful times, and always having this deep fear I was going to be audited. So
yeah, well,
that was not good.
Let's talk about for just a quick second, why do you need to keep receipts? Because you said that you didn't keep any receipts because it was in your business bank account. Yeah. You had all the transactions, which you've already said doesn't really work because it only shows you the vendor and the price. It doesn't show you actually what you bought.
Yeah.
But the real reason why you need to keep receipts is it's the law. Because for up to 7 years after each tax year, the IRS or the CRA or whatever Australia's thing is, wherever you are in the world, it's probably the same as Canada and the US. For 7 years after each tax year, they can go back and audit you for up to 7 years, which means it is 2023 right now. They can go all the way back to, 2016? Yes, they can go all the way back to 2016 and audit my business. This year, they can do that. I have to then be able to show proof of my receipts for up to 7 years. So it's so important that you're not just operating off of your bank statements because, first of all, it's not actually giving you what you bought. It just shows you the vendor and the price. And if you get audited, you are screwed.
Can't prove it was a business
You are screwed
expense.
like that. So with that in mind,
fingers crossed.
My story was somewhat similar to Christy's, actually. When I started, I kept all my receipts, but I was on the inefficient side. So you weren't tracking things as well. Mm-hmm. I was tracking things, but I was doing it in a really, really inefficient way. So I would keep all my receipts. I actually still have them because 7 years, you got to keep them. I would keep all my receipts. I have them in these Ziploc bags, and I've written all over them like 2014, taxes, blah, blah, blah. But I would keep all my receipts from the year. I'd put them in one Ziploc bag. And then at the end of the year, I'd go through and I would spend so long entering them into a spreadsheet, into Excel. And I'd get them all in there. I'd try and categorize them depending on what expense type they were. And then I'd send it to my accountant, and then they'd obviously use them all, lower my taxes, all that stuff. But it drove me freaking crazy every single year. It was like the worst thing ever. Yeah. Now, we both have come out of these two stories, and we've got a better system that we'd love to actually share with you on this podcast so that you can manage your expenses better, so you can actually save more money on taxes and not want to pull your hair out because you're spending 2 weeks of the year doing all of this stuff yourself. So before we get into that though, why do we need to even manage our expenses in the first place? This is a very, very important question. Well, we've already talked about the IRS can come at you and get you. The CRA can come at you and get you for up to 7 years. So you have to be managing your expenses, your receipts properly. But here's really the main reason. If you are not expensing anything in your business, you're missing out on opportunities to deduct your taxes, to lower your taxes. So here's how this works. You only get taxed on the profit your business makes. You don't get taxed on what you earn. You get taxed on the profit your business makes. Now, how do you lower your profit to lower your taxes? Well, you lower it by utilizing eligible business expenses, spending money on eligible expenses that you can then use against your income to lower your actual income in order to pay less taxes. So you're already spending the money. In order to run a business, you have to be spending money on expenses. It's just whether or not you are going to expense things properly and get the deductions, save the money on taxes, or whether you're just going to say, screw it, that's too complicated, and pay probably 20 to 30% more each year in taxes than you should be. So how do we do this? What do we do about that, right?
Yes. So the easiest way to lower your taxes is actually very simple, but it's by tracking every single one of your business expenses.
And we need everyone.
And every single one. Now you might be thinking, that sounds really complicated. I don't know how to do that. Here's how you track a business expense, okay? Number one, you keep the receipt, okay? Keep the receipt either physically or you have a photo of it. And number two, you enter the receipt details into a spreadsheet or accounting software. That's it.
Very simple.
So simple. That's all you need to do to stay out of IRS jail.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
That's actually it. So I literally just pulled up my phone. This is what I do. When I have a business expense, I quite literally take the receipt. I go, boom.
He's taking a photo.
Capturing, done. It's already uploaded. I can now, like Christy does, crumple this receipt up and I can throw it away. I never have to think about the physical receipt anymore because I have a digital copy of the receipt inside of the software that I use. So we're going to get to that in a second. But here's the exact system. I just gave you one piece of it, but here's the exact system that Christy and I used just last year to save us $121,204.60 on our taxes just last year. This is the exact system we use to expense things properly, so it's all taken care of, it's tracked, and we can manage it, and it does not. Did you feel like you wanted to rip your hair out last year?
No.
No. I was like, you had to think about that for a second.
Not
at all.
Let me think. At what time of the year?
It was so
No.
It was so easy. Doing our taxes last year was so easy, and
By the way,
it saved
this is
us.
not an ad either.
No, this is not an ad.
Genuinely what we
It
use.
saved us $121,000. So first, we use obviously a business bank account and a business credit card or business credit cards. We've got multiple of them. But anytime we are going to be doing any spending, we look at each other and go, is this a business expense? Yes. Boom. Great. Use the business credit card. If it's not, we will use a personal one.
Yes. Do
And
that
all of those
ASAP.
transactions run through our business bank account. Okay. So that is like rule number one. That's also what you have to do basically in the IRS and CRA guidelines. They do not want to see you mixing personal stuff with business stuff. That's a big no. So go to the bank, set up a business bank account, and set up a business bank credit card if you are someone who uses credit cards, or get a business debit card. That's first things, okay? Business bank account, business credit card. Now, the second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you are literally keeping every single receipt. So there's two ways to do this. You can do what I did. That's the more inefficient way, because I don't want to spend $40 a month using accounting software. I would keep every single receipt. Every single month, I'd then take my little bag of receipts from that month and I would enter them into a spreadsheet. That is a less efficient way to do it, but it still works. You now have got all your actual expenses set out on a spreadsheet. At the end of the year, you can send it to your accountant. Or do what's even better. Here's what Christy and I do. We use QuickBooks. You can use QuickBooks. You can use FreshBooks. You can use any of the books. Any of the companies online that are online accounting software companies. It's typically like $15 to $45 a month. And here's what it does. We use QuickBooks. It does every single piece of math for me. It tracks every single receipt I upload so that I never have to keep physical receipts. I can just throw them out right away, which is amazing. If I ever need to go back and search for something or search for a specific receipt, I just type it in the search bar. It pulls up all the receipts from that location, from that vendor. That is an amazing feature. And it does all of this in one place. It categorizes all of our expenses. And so every single time we spend money, I immediately pull up my phone before I've even left the gas station, before I've left the Apple store and I bought a new iPhone for our business, before I left the store buying a new MacBook or I bought a new camera, whatever it's going to be. I take a photo of the receipt. Literally, Christy sees me do this every single day. You do this as well.
Yeah.
We do not leave the store until you just boom, take a photo of it, boom, it's uploaded and you're done. It automatically goes into QuickBooks because you're using the QuickBooks photo thing in order to actually upload the photos, take the photo. You're not taking this on your camera roll. You're doing this in the actual app, whether it's QuickBooks, FreshBooks, whatever it's going to be. It automatically goes up. Now, if we buy something online and we get emailed a receipt, same thing. All I do is click on the little forward button on the email and I forward it to our company email at QuickBooks, and it automatically sends it into the same place that uploading a photo in the QuickBooks app does. So automatically, we are covered for physical receipts and digital receipts. We do all of that. That takes me 30 seconds every single time we get a receipt. And I used to take that info then from QuickBooks, download it, and send it to my accountant at the end of the year. You can absolutely do that. That is the best way to start. Pay the monthly fee, and at the end of the year, you take all of your expenses that QuickBooks has managed for you and categorized, send it to your accountant, and they will categorize everything and make sure it gets deducted off your income. Or as you grow your income, you can go a step further, which is what we've done. And we hired a bookkeeper. I hired him like 3 years ago. She's awesome. Every single month, she gives us updates on our finances, and she goes back and she reconciles everything to make sure that everything is accounted for. Every dollar our business earns and spends is accounted for. We know where it went. So she's ruthless about that, and that's really cool. I like finances, so I like hiring a bookkeeper to help me do all that, give us financial statements. You don't need that, but as you grow your business, it might be something that's helpful for you. But absolutely the best way to get started, guys, business bank account, business credit card, or business debit card. Get something like QuickBooks so you can upload the photo of your receipt directly into the software. Or you can then email the receipts. If you get an email receipt, email it to the company account that you have with whatever software that is, and you'll literally never have to think about this stuff again. It's all done for you. You download it at the end of the year, send it off to an accountant. It's the easiest way to get started for like $400 a year because it's like $40 a month.
Yeah.
That is what you need to do. It is so easy, guys, when you do that. So that is the exact system Christy and I used to save $139,000 on our taxes last year. Sorry, $121,000 on our taxes last year, because that was how much money we expensed as eligible business expenses. So you might be asking, Well, when do we actually do this?
Yes.
How early is too early?
That is a great question. As soon as you start making money with a business, you should start tracking your expenses.
Even
or
if
even
you're not
before the
making
dollar,
money.
even if you're not even making money yet, you should start tracking your expenses. And you might be thinking, well, I haven't officially started my business yet. So once I get my business license, then I can start tracking. No. You can actually retroactively go back and go, hey, in the last, 12 months?
Yeah, I think these are expenses that help me start my business. So even though I took these expenses, I paid for them before I actually got my business license, they still count for that year. So make sure you start doing that.
Check the time limit on that in your local county, but you can go, hey, these are the expenses before I actually got my business license. You can actually retroactively go back and track that as well, which is super cool.
Which is so cool.
Right away,
So
start tracking right away.
The answer to when do I start doing this? She said right away.
Right away.
Now, the second question you're probably asking was, well, Joey and Christy, what are actual eligible business expenses? What are eligible things that if I spend money on, they will help me deduct money off my taxes? What are eligible business expenses? Well, I'm going to read a bunch to you right now. Cameras, lenses, tripods, lighting equipment, memory cards, filters, batteries, camera bags, rent or lease for a photography studio, utilities, studio maintenance and repairs, furniture and props, office rent or home deductions, office supplies, paper, pens, printer, ink, all that stuff, computer equipment and software, all your editing and post-processing stuff, internet and phone bills, office furniture, website development and maintenance, social media advertising, business cards, promotional materials, online portfolio hosting, marketing campaigns and promotions, mileage and vehicle expenses for off-site shoots, sites that are shoots that are not at your actual physical location, which is pretty much every shoot for a lot of people on this. Who listen to the podcast, meals and entertainment while traveling for work, liability insurance, equipment insurance, health insurance, so that covers all your medical stuff if you're self-employed, fees for second shooters or assistants, costs associated with hiring models or makeup artists, legal and accounting fees, expenses related to producing prints or albums for clients, costs of framing, matting, or packaging, workshops and photography courses, education, Creative Rise Mastermind's expensible, books, subscriptions to photography-related websites and services, bank fees, membership dues for education, postage and shipping costs, depreciation of equipment. Look that one up. That's a great way to get money come off your taxes, and more. So that was a lot. Here's our favorite to recap those. Here's the ones that are absolutely must-dos. Go back and listen to that, though, and take a note on every single one of those because you should be looking for those deductions in your business. Here's our favorite write-offs, though, for your business that if you're not taking advantage of, you're missing out on saving money on your taxes. Your phone bill. Okay? Every single time you pay for your phone bill, expensed. Your computer, expensed. Camera equipment, expensed. Subscription services for editing stuff, expense that. Business-related travel, business-related meals, healthcare and medical expenses, company cars and gas, office space and utilities, even in your own home. You can do that. Look that one up. Office furniture and supplies, contractors, models, second shooters, assistants, editors, business education like the Creative Rise Mastermind, fully deductible. Those are some of our favorite expenses that we make sure we take in our own businesses, which again saved us $121,000 last year off of our taxes. So that was a lot. That was a lot. I think that was a quick podcast with a ton of meat to it. But guys, that is the exact system that Christy and I use to save a ton of money on our taxes every single year. Because remember, you cannot maximize your savings on your taxes if you're not making sure you're accounting for every single eligible dollar you spend on your business that can be expensed. Expense against your income is basically what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. So I hope that was so helpful. If you loved this podcast, DM us about it. Share it on your Instagram story. Please tag us. We'd love to see it. Repost you. Say thank you. Say, hey, thanks for watching the show. Get to know you. Hope this was helpful. You guys, this makes spending fun in your business when you know it lowers your taxes. So smart, intentional spending and tracking it is going to be the gold mine of your business. Yeah. So you got to do it well. So I hope this podcast was helpful. And every week we come out with different educational episodes that help you run a creative business in a better way so you can keep doing and succeeding at what you love, which is why we exist. So totally why we exist.
Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.